Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Only Stupid Answers. This is the show where we answer your questions about movies, TV shows, comic books, Agatha's All Alongs, finales, so much more. I'm your host, DJ Wooldridge. With me, as always, is Roxy Stryer. Happy post-Halloween, Roxy.
Thanks, you too, DJ. I love when you and I... This is how I'm going to phrase this.
Yeah.
I love when you and I don't speak because I don't know how you feel about the Agatha finale until I talk to you. Like, I don't know how you feel about I don't know how you feel about Penguin this week. I don't know how you feel about any of the shows that we love when I don't speak to you.
Yeah.
And you're very busy recently, so we haven't been texting about our shows. So
yeah, we haven't texted about our shows, and Twitter is basically broken. So there's no other way. It's, it's not as easy to find people's thoughts on stuff, but that's what we're talking about this week, the Agatha All Along finale. But listen, gang, before we get into all that, of course, a little bit of business up top. If you want to watch this show early, ad-free, watch it live, check out Patreon-exclusive shows like Mutant Academy or What We're Into. You can do that over at patreon.com/onlystupidanswers. Also, if you're watching this on YouTube or listening to this on Spotify, we like to talk about some of your comments. I will say I was surprised because last week, we answered comments from our Superman and Lois episode. And a lot of the comments on the previous episode were about us answering those comments on, you know what I mean? So it was still Superman and Lois adjacent comments, even though it was our Venom episode. Was that the episode we did last week? That sounds right. Yeah. I think it was Venom. Okay. So I tried to do some thoughtful thoughts on those, but I tried to focus it on the topic at hand, which last week was Venom. And so we've got Grendel, 4397, who said, is Sony trying to make Miles Morales but Venom? Venom, quote, dies just like Ultimate Spider-Man. New successor's the same, but with extra electric powers. Now, that could be referring to Lady Symbiote, who I incorrectly didn't recognize as a symbiote that is from the comics. Although they don't have electric powers. It's just, and it's a different person. So basically it's just the color scheme. What is her
name in the comics?
I think it's Agony. I don't remember. It's basically the only thing that's the same is the color scheme, but whatever, sure. So this comment could be referring to that, or spoilers for Venom: The Last Dance, the post-credit scene where the little roach goes up to the little Venom vial, but there's still electricity in there. So it's unclear. It's still unclear to me. It was unclear. Roxy, what do you think the chances are that they are trying to make a spin-off with Juno Temple's electric symbiote?
I really think that they're keeping their options open more than know what they're doing.
I think that's fair.
But what are the chances that ends up happening? I think it's pretty little unless they figure out more of what the game plan is. Because to what end? What do you think?
I think the answer should be an obvious no. Because why? Yeah. Not because Juno Temple's great, but this is nothing. This is nothing. It's barely a character from the comics. It's not. But considering it's Sony, the answer is not a hard zero, and that's unfortunate, I think.
Yeah, and it's the fact that I love Juno Temple and I like the Venom movies, and I think this is nothing. A little bit concerning.
Yeah, and it's just weird. I kind of feel bad that all these. Listen, they're getting paid. They're probably getting paid well, but I do feel a little bummed that all these actors keep getting roped into these Sony superhero movies, and I wonder sometimes if they think they're being in a real Marvel movie.
Yeah,
and then they've been one of these movies.
Because you think that they don't know the landscape right now.
My understanding is in some of the promotion for Madam Web, some of the actresses, the way this is how I remember it. Some of these actresses phrased in a way as if I've always wanted to be in a Marvel movie. And it's well, hold on a second, because the only person that
is that really what they said?
I want to say there were some conversations in that realm where it was kind of you kind of hope there was somebody that in their lives that would be well, but that these are the bad ones, right? The one person that I do feel fairly confident should have some understanding of the landscape is Chiwetel Ejiofor, because he's Mordo in the Doctor Strange movies. So, you'd think that he knows a little bit.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. Okay. But also you can't feel too bad, DJ, because how much do you think they got paid for this?
Not a small amount, but
an insane amount, DJ.
It is a bummer. Specifically, because Juno Temple has Ted Lasso and stuff like that. She was in Fargo. I do feel bummed for Chiwetel Ejiofor specifically, because it's like, wow, you were consistently wasted, and you were so
Wait,
good.
let me look up what he's been working on recently. Is that true?
Yeah, it just feels like he's always in stuff that, like, even though like I liked the new Doctor Strange 2, it's like it didn't need him in it, and and it's like he's so talented, and I wish he was like being cast. Him and there's a few other actors that I kind of wish, like, it's a bummer. You're so good. I wish they were casting you in better things. I wish you were. While you're looking that up,
I'm trying to remember him right now. I'm looking him up in the last 10 years. He was in Maleficent, Mistress of Evil, and like I don't even remember that.
And it's like good for him to get the paycheck, but it's like you're good. You're so good. You should be the guy. You should be the lead guy.
Voice of Scar in Lion King is pretty cool.
That's pretty cool. He was also the villain in the antagonist in wow, I'm blanking on everything today. There's some Netflix movie with Charlize Theron, and it was another one where it's like, you could have cast anybody in this role.
He was in The Martian, which
he's good in The Martian, and of course The Martian is stacked. Like everybody in The Martian, somebody.
I don't remember that either. Yeah, I gotta really brush up on my Chiwetel Ejiofor's filmography. Yeah, I don't remember a lot of these, and I've seen a lot of his movies.
Another comment from last week, Phil RM99 says Sony's going to make a live action Spot movie next. And it's like, you know what? After Spider-Verse 2, I'm not against it. I'd watch it. I'd check that shit out. It would be good because sorry, Sony. It's one of those Sony movies, and it's like they're not. That was not good. But hey man, we'll see. We'll find out.
Already stringing that haterade, DJ.
Are you excited for Craven, Roxy? Craven the Hunter, Aaron Taylor Johnson.
Honestly, my answer 6 months ago would have been absolutely not.
Mm-hmm.
My answer now is kind of, because of all the people at the cons who said they saw footage and it was unbelievable.
Okay. All right. We'll see.
I don't know what to make of that.
I don't either. I think that comes out. Is that next month? No, it's not.
Yeah.
Hold on. Is November? No.
This is November. That's December, right?
I guess we're in November now. You're right.
Yeah.
It is coming out December 13th, 2024. Get excited. Everybody just get excited. You know what else you should get excited for? If you go over to my personal channel, DJ Talks Trash, you can check out our new show, Krypton Academy, where Sal from Comic Pop and I are going through all the Superman movies. You can please check out the latest episode of Slash Pick. It was on OSA. I moved it over to DJ Talks Trash. Adam Hlavik from Heroes Reforged and I are going through slasher movies chronologically. We're at the first John Carpenter's Halloween. The views on Slash Pick are a little soft. You guys apparently don't like it when we talk about horror movies, but I really like that show, and I think it's a good show, and I would really love it. If you haven't checked out Slash Pick, go give it a watch. I think you'll like it.
It's got to be a build it and they will come, DJ, because it's like your current audience. Of course, I wouldn't think that they happen to be the horror film #1 audience, because we've talked about superhero stuff for so long.
Yes.
But you'll find new audience.
Yeah, I'm working on it. I will say the YouTube algorithm is making that a little challenging because there's ways to promote your videos on YouTube, and I've tried to do that with this one. They're like, no, I'm sorry, you talk about murder in this, so we're not going to let you promote it. And it's like, cool, thanks for that. They're horror movies. Are you telling me there's no horror movie talk on YouTube? Anyway.
Yeah, it is really weird sometimes what they decide to and not to. Like, it was bizarre. I uploaded for Real Rejects this Venom video for TikTok, and of all the videos, I mean, we've been doing horror stuff all month. Nothing has gotten flagged. This video hits 2 million views, and they flag it Venom's too violent.
Yeah, it's cool. Like, it's so cool.
More violent than Halloween or Scream or any like Hereditary or like all the Evil Dead.
Yeah,
Venom. All right.
Yeah, it's wild. I might
make things up all the time.
That's cool. I love how social media is adjusting our language so that we can't talk about things. That's cool. That's so cool.
And that's all. Everybody is like, it's so important to talk about mental health and social media is like, yeah, as long as you're using fruits.
Yeah, as long as you're using, great. Cool. Awesome. Listen.
So weird. Or segs. Weird. You see segs all the time.
Or like I've started seeing, and I've thought about doing this, like little emojis for different words instead of the words themselves. Whatever, man.
You can't say dead or kill. No. Do the little emoji.
Dumb. It's dumb and I don't like it. I'm not a fan, but go check out those videos. DJ Talks Trash. Try new things. Please support it. And thank you. So, like I said at the top, we're talking about the Agatha All Along finale. But listen, this is actually just going to be a more general Marvel TV episode, because not only did we get the 2-part series finale, whatever, of Agatha All Along, but with
down the road.
Turns out that was meaningless. turns out that was meaningless.
What did I say to you last week, DJ?
Yeah.
You said you liked the episode. I said I did. I like the song. I want more of it. They gave me more songs.
My wife has been watching Dancing with the Stars, and they had a whole sequence to that song, and I'm like, ooh, that's called brand synergy. That's brand synergy right there.
Pretty cool.
So we're talking about, before Agatha All Along, Marvel dropped, and online, they dropped a trailer teasing their TV output moving forward. And so here is the slate as part of this trailer. I'm not going to post the trailer because that's another thing YouTube loves to demonetize. So you go watch it, I guess. Here's what we got on the docket. And all this was teased in this trailer. We got What If Season 3 dropping in December 22nd. Now we're in 2025. We got Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man dropping on January 2025. We got Daredevil Born Again on March 4th. On June 24th, we have Ironheart. On August 6th, we have Eyes of Wakanda. In October of next year, we have Marvel Zombies. And on December 2025, we have the new show Wonder Man. And we're going to go through each of these and just give our general thoughts. And of course, we're gonna slide a little bit over some of the animated stuff, like What If. I like the What If show. I thought season 1 was stronger than season 2. Roxy's not as big as in the animated stuff, so we're just kind of gonna skip over it. Although I am looking forward to it. And
thanks.
And we're just gonna jump right to the meat and potatoes. I think I want to jump to the headline, and the headline, I think, for me at least, is Daredevil Born Again. And listen, gang, who knows? Will it be good? Will it be bad? I think Marvel's TV track record on Disney Plus has been hit or miss. But seeing that footage I was like, oh, yeah, baby. Oh, yeah, baby.
Yeah, I won't lie to you, DJ. When you sent me the trailer to watch for this, do we call it a trailer when it's about everything? Yeah,
I guess so. It's like a, what do they call it? Like a sneak preview? I don't know.
By far and away, the one I cared about the most, and the footage that got me the most excited, by far and away, of course, was
Daredevil, baby.
Like one-liners about like where you've been, or I'm a really good lawyer, whatever. Yeah. I was like, yeah. I felt like every time somebody's ever called me a shill came down to this moment, because I felt like a shill. I was so funny. Put it on my screen and let me gobble it up. I have been waiting for Daredevil. Thank you for showing me some footage. Please and thank you. Nom, 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 nom.
It's so funny because I think I am not as over the moon with Netflix's Daredevil as a lot of people are. By which I mean, I don't think it was flawless. Like I don't know about you, Rex, but when you talk to people, they talk as if those 3 seasons of Daredevil are perfect, no notes. And I'm like, well, I feel the same way. But
no, it's not actually even my favorite of the Netflix shows. I'm a Jessica Jones girl.
I think for me, season 1 Jessica Jones is still like tip top. That first season, nailed it. And I think, now I'm trying to remember back. I think Luke Cage season 2 was really good. And I think the highs in Daredevil are really high.
And then Iron Fist 1 obviously is your favorite. You still rave about it to this day. Don't lie to the people.
But that said, something Marvel traditionally is very good at, and it's true here. Charlie Cox's Daredevil, A+. Vincent D'Onofrio's Kingpin, I'd like to see it, and John Bernthal's back as Punisher, and it was A+. And there's part of me in my brain parts, I know that a lot of Disney Plus Marvel shows haven't really hit for me. But in my heart, I really want this to be, because it's going to be Charlie Cox's Daredevil officially in the MCU. Like, no, is it? Is it not? No, it is. And I really want this to be great. I really, really want this to be great.
Yeah, I'm super with you because there's a lot of implications to it if it's not great. Okay, so let's just go down that road for 1 second, DJ.
The Witch's Road?
Down the Daredevil road, down the Daredevil road.
Yeah.
Okay, so say that Daredevil is like what's the name of the Star Wars show that you and I liked that everybody hated?
The Acolyte?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Let's say that Daredevil is as poorly received as Acolyte, which could never.
That's not going to happen because the lead's a white man, so that's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen. But say that it was universally.
I'm a little, on that note, jumping ahead, I am a little worried about the reception for Wonder Man, but we'll put a pin in that for later in the conversation.
Let's just say that it does not do well.
Yeah.
And people do not like it.
Yeah.
Where do they go from there?
I don't know. Well, here's
no more Daredevil.
I do think there's a lot. I think they would have to try really hard. And granted, as far as I know, they basically reshot the first season of the show, so there is a chance that it's not. Just that information alone is concerning. That said, with this cast and the goodwill coming from the Netflix show, I feel like they'd have to try really hard to bungle it.
Right.
Yeah.
But what if they do?
That's bad. That's a big bad.
Really,
That's a big
really
bad.
bad.
That's bad.
Really bad. Like if say they bungle What If season 3.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's fine. It's the third season of a show that, not as many people are watching. Yeah.
So like it's just by far and away, this is the one I'm most excited for. By far and away, this is the one that matters the most.
Yeah.
And if they do not stick the landing on this, then we in trouble. Did you know, we're going to talk about this when we talk about Agatha more, but I was really confused by some of the verbiage on this, and you and I haven't really talked about this, so I wasn't sure. Did you know that Agatha was the first of the Disney or Marvel or Marvel or Star Wars shows that had a showrunner?
That's stupid. No, I mean, didn't they, like in a more official sense?
Yes.
Yeah, that's, yeah. Mm-hmm. I don't think.
I was like, "What are you guys talking about?" I started looking it up, and I was like, "Wait, but oh my god, you guys have a TV show problem." You'd be not putting official showrunners on your shows.
Yeah, I think it's a big. I think the way, and I think it's a few things. I think Netflix kind of broke a lot of people's brains, and I think it being part of the larger franchise has made it challenging. But I think the closest we got to that was Jessica Gao. I think it's Jessica Gao. I want to get that right. For She-Hulk. It was a writer from Rick and Morty, who did the Pickle Rick episode, which is a fantastic episode of that show. Jessica Gao was hired to run She-Hulk. And then like most of them was like, once they filmed it, they're like, okay, bye-bye, get out of here. And then because of different crises, they brought her back to oversee editing like a showrunner would do. And that's why I would argue, I think She-Hulk actually feels the most like a TV show, most cohesive of the shows we've gotten. And it's just a bummer that the reception for that show was what it was. And also the budget, again, like, you guys need to stop spending like $200 million on these shows. That's insane. That's not how, that's a mistake.
Yeah, that's a big one, but just I think it so much depends on how Daredevil is. Like, are we just going to be playing on nostalgia? Are we actually trying to move forward with storylines? What is the purpose of the show? Is this trying to bridge the gap between television and movie? Is this the new direction of what they are doing with their television? Is this telling us more that we're going with our street hero? Like, what is Daredevil hoping to accomplish? And I guess more relevant to this conversation, DJ, what, after you watch Daredevil, what is it that you're hoping that you feel or that it did?
I want them, and even as I'm saying this, I know based on just what we said, they're not going to do this, because I think, to your point, I think there were showrunners hired for Daredevil that they fired, and then they hired new ones, and they reshot, and it's like, oh my God, this might suck. It might be bad. But what I want is I'm already getting, it's more connected to the MCU. That's a guarantee. I want them to look at, not try and reinvent the wheel. look at the first 3 seasons of Daredevil, looked at what worked, tone worked, cast worked. Maybe it's not even that it was too bloated, it's that they like to stretch plots too far over those 13 episodes. So it's like, okay, so let's either introduce more subplots, focus on our other characters more, or maybe tighten it up. That's it, honestly. That's all I need you to do. And then desperately what I want, and everybody's in charge seems hell-bent not to do this, I would love this lead into the next Spider-Man movie, or a Spider-Man movie where Spider-Man hangs out with Daredevil and Punisher to fight Kingpin. That's all I want. I want a street-level Spider-Man movie where if he's teaming up with anybody, it's Daredevil and Punisher. That's my little fanboy heart. That's all I need.
And you think that there's no shot?
I think at least for the next Spider-Man movie, because it takes place in between Doomsday and Secret Wars. And apparently Sony has been petitioning hard for it to be another multiverse movie because No Way Home made them so much money. And it's like, I hear you, but I would suggest that you could do Tom Holland Spider-Man co-headlining a movie with Charlie Cox as Daredevil, and it would cost you less money and make you just as much money. I would argue. That would be my argument, but I don't think they care. What about you, Roxy? What are you hoping?
Do you think that there's any world that we're leading to a Defenders thing again?
I don't know, because Mike Coulter moved on to Evil, right? He did that. And I think he's been pretty public about, like, listen, it's hard to maintain that superhero physique, and I kind of don't want it anymore. Jessica Jones, Kristen Ritter, is now in that new Orphan Black show.
Is she?
Yeah, there was an Orphan Black Echoes, which I don't know how well that's doing. So she might still, and I think Evil's leaving. So theoretically, they might be free.
The Evil had its finale.
Yeah, so maybe they'd be free. I think it's unlikely that we would get a full Defenders slate, but not impossible that Christian Ritter could show up for an episode, or if we lived in a beautiful land where we were getting a She-Hulk season 2, maybe she could have showed up in that. That would have been cool. Maybe Luke Cage. I would be surprised if we see Finn Jones Iron Fist again, but maybe not Jessica Henwick's Colleen Wing. Maybe she could show up and stuff.
The more you're talking about things, honestly, the more nervous I'm getting, DJ, because it just continues to show me that I just don't feel the same way about these that other people or other people do. The way that I love She-Hulk, and I know you mentioned this earlier, but it's like, did you remember when She-Hulk came out, how much hatred there was until the Daredevil episode? Yeah. Which to me was a fine episode.
It was fine. Yeah, it was cool because Daredevil, but it wasn't like the best episode of the show. Yeah.
But not the best episode of the show. Well, so now it's just like, I don't know what they do with that, because like hands majorly tied.
Well, and what's Mike Joyce in the comments saying that Orphan Black Echoes was canceled. I will say my wife and I tried to watch the first 2 episodes of it, and it wasn't very good. I'm bummed because I like Kristen Ritter, but that does make sense to me. To that point, and when you bring up the Daredevil episode, that's something that I think She-Hulk did so well, is that it didn't just do a Daredevil episode to have Daredevil in it. It furthered Jen's story. A major subplot was her dating and seeing guys, and maybe there's not a guy out there for her. And then she meets Matt and she clicks with somebody. Not that they're soulmates, but that there's this idea that this could work someday.
But that's what character focused. That's what you and I liked about the episode. That's not what the internet liked about the episode. Daredevil, get in fight. Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I think it is not unlikely that you and I will watch Daredevil and be like, TV, it's fine. But the internet will love it because it's Daredevil punching people and Punisher shooting people. And so it doesn't matter narratively how tight it is. The guys in the costumes they want to see in those costumes are doing the things they want to see. A+. You know what I mean?
But does Marvel know that? And is Marvel going to just put out a show that's like Daredevil punch things?
I don't know, but I do hope there's a few things I've heard on the streets that I hope aren't true, because I think that would be a misstep. But I love Daredevil as a character. I think Charlie Cox is really good in the role. I think there's a lot of, even though there's parts of the Daredevil show that I don't think were quite perfect. I do think there's a lot of potential in it, and I think it still stands out from the rest of the stuff Marvel's doing. And so I really want this to work. But I do think, talking about the She-Hulk of it all, I think that's a good segue to the last one on the docket, which was Wonder Man, which is coming out in December of next year, starring Yahya Abdul-Mateen II, who you may know as Black Manta. He was also, spoilers for the Watchmen show, he was Dr. Manhattan Watchmen, and he's fantastic. And I don't know about you, Roxy, but watching this, Wonder Man's like D-list. Like, he's not on my radar at all. Yeah. I like this actor. I like the tone. Like, they're going, it's just a Hollywood comedy about this guy. Like, to the point where I was watching, I'm like, I know there's going to be superhero shit in this, but I kind of wish there wasn't. I kind of wish it was just this guy bumble fucking his way through Hollywood with Trevor from Iron Man 3 and Shang-Chi. And it's set in LA. It's got a comedic tone. Could She-Hulk show up for an episode? Marvel, can you throw me a bone? Can she throw up for one? Can she be his lawyer for one episode, please?
That would be nice.
Call Tatiana up. Come on.
I love Yahya. I think he's so good. I don't have any idea what this is. It's still so far out that they obviously didn't have that much. Mm-hmm. What was the date of this one?
December. It's over a year from now.
Yeah. So there was like not that much to know other than they put it on the radar of a bunch of people, I think.
Yeah.
I'll certainly be watching this. Less for the Marvel and more for the Yahya of it all.
Well, and also I think too, not to be obviously that, but also Trevor Slider, the fake Mandarin from Iron Man 3. Why am I blanking on the actor's name? I literally just shot out of my brain.
I'm trying to think of who you're talking about.
I'm talking about Ben Kingsley. Sir Ben Kingsley. Sorry, Ben. I've got a newborn.
Sorry, Ben.
I've got a newborn in the house, so things are very fluid in my brain. But it's funny because once they reintroduced him in Shang-Chi, to me that's the demarcation point of when Shang-Chi flies the rails and becomes a movie I don't enjoy as much. Ben Kingsley's a lot of fun in that role still, though, and the idea of him working with Yahya as trying to make it as an actor is genuinely funny to me. But I am worried because it's a Marvel show with a non-white lead that seems to be openly not like, hey, snarky one-liners and our superhero thing, like openly like this is a comedy, and that hasn't worked out great for us. It's worked out good for us, but not as reception-wise.
Not even in this exact round. What was that comedy superhero? It was a full-blown sitcom. What?
Powerless with yeah.
I'd Be Out Here Loving Powerless.
Yeah.
That was canceled faster than anybody else could even know that it was a show.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm looking forward to it though. The one
How did you know that's what I was thinking of?
Because what other superhero comedy is there? It's She-Hulk and Powerless. Like those are the two, right?
Let me try to answer that question. Wow, really? You guys tell us.
And I just think there's a lot of mileage in it. And again, it's set in LA. I'm hoping I'll get some She-Hulk because tonally it seems similar. The one I don't feel things about is Ironheart. And the footage looks cool. And I like...
yeah. Can you tell me anything about Ironheart?
So in the comics, there was a point, as with all superheroes, where Iron Man was dead. And that was... we got two...
100% interrupting you, but there's that show that I'm obsessed with on Hulu. That's a comedy. That's the superhero show that I love. That I keep telling you about.
But you don't remember the name?
He turned into a cat. He's a cat.
Yeah.
He turned into a cat, and then he's a person. What's it called? You guys tell me. Okay, I interrupted you not to tell you the name of the show.
Yeah. So Ironheart.
Extraordinary.
So at the time Iron Man was gone, there was two spin-off comics. One of them revolved around Riri, who was Ironheart. We've seen this actress and that character in Wakanda Forever. And then the other spin-off was Infamous Iron Man, where Dr. Doom kind of takes the place of Iron Man to kind of redeem himself, which I think when people are talking about, it makes perfect sense that Robert Downey Jr. was cast as Dr. Doom, I think they're or don't know what Infamous Iron Man was about. It was a Dr. Doom comic. He didn't become Tony Stark. It was about Doctor Doom. Anyway, so Riri is a kid that kind of builds her own Iron Man armor and then kind of like inherits the mantle to a degree while Iron Man's gone.
Is she rich kid?
No, poor kid. It's kind of like the polar opposite of where Tony's coming from. And the villain in Ironheart is played by Anthony Ramos, who's an actor I really like and stuff. And he's playing the Hood, I believe. I'm going to double check to make sure that information. Yeah, he's playing the Hood, which was another Brian Michael Bendis creation. I guess, he's probably going to be credited as a producer on this show. He's a guy similar, actually. He's kind of like a low level. I want to say he started off as a low level crook, and then he finds this mystical Red Hood artifact that gives him supernatural powers, and then he like shoots up the ladder of villainy. So that's actually interesting. There's some interesting parallels of somebody coming from nothing and kind of building up their brand, I guess. And the difference being Riri's tech and the Hood is mystical. So that'll be and the Hood, because he was created by Brian Michael Bendis, and Brian Michael Bendis had a massive cachet at Marvel for a long time, the Hood popped up as a villain and everything. So this could be...
He sounds silly to me. Is it silly?
No, I mean, I don't think he's meant to be. But this could be... Anthony Ramos is an actor that's on the rise. So this could be the first of many times we see the Hood.
The Hood?
Yeah. Which is really interesting. I'm not... I have no feelings one way or the other.
Okay.
But we'll see. It could be great.
I just always find myself way more attracted to heroes and villains that are more practical and grounded than mystical. My least favorite person in the entire MCU is Doctor Strange.
Yeah. I don't know that I agree across the board, but I do agree in that I think Marvel has a better track record of handling more grounded people better. I think once you start getting in the multiverse stuff, it feels like this, you guys need to dial this in. You need to figure out what you're doing.
Yeah, it was like Wanda was my favorite character until you guys did what you did. Yeah. And then I was so bummed. So yeah, I don't know. Like it feels weird when you're describing to me Ironheart, that makes sense. Sees rich guy, wants to create this tech, wants to be hero, get out of where she comes from, as opposed to like stumbled upon Hood, mystical, magical, and then those two being in the same world. That doesn't get me super excited, but the actors involved and whatever, that can always change around a project. So maybe this is cool.
We will see. Let us know in the comments which ones you're most excited for. But let's talk about the Marvel show. We currently just got the series finale for... It's a series finale. We're not going to Agatha All Along season 2. Agatha All Along. Just this week, as of this recording, they dropped the final 2 episodes. We got episode 8, Follow Me, My Friend, to glory at the end. And then Maiden Mother Crone. I don't know about you, Roxy, watching episode 8, and it ends. I'm like, what are we going to do? That felt like the finale to me. I don't know what we're going to do for the 9th episode. And then I saw the 9th, I'm like, oh, okay. But let's go through them in order.
They were really one episode, it felt like.
Yeah.
They were so interwoven.
It did feel weird to me. It made sense by the end, but it did feel like we're waiting till the last episode to do Agatha backstory. We're waiting for the very last episode of the Agatha show to do Agatha backstory.
Yeah, but I remember when you texted me earlier this week, we're going to pivot 2 episodes of Agatha. It's going to be ending, so we'll cover those.
Yeah.
And I was like, why are they doing 8 and 9 the same week? I don't get it.
Yeah.
It's so bizarre. Also, I haven't heard anybody say that. Every person after you texted me that I said the finale this week, they were like, what? The finale this week? Like, it just feels like it crept up. But then after watching it, I was like, oh, those made perfect sense to air the same night.
Yes. Yeah, because like you said, it's not really a complete thought without them together. But the first one is we reach the end of the Witch's Road. The only people we have left at this point are Agatha, Jen, and Billy. They reached their shoes, which they left at the beginning. It was a circuitous loop, but they end up getting into this room that has like grow lights in it. We find out that Agatha is the one that took away Jen's powers. Like, she didn't even know. Like, that's just thrown away. Like, by the way, she got rid of Jen's powers. Oops. And Jen gets her powers back. And then in I think a much more impactful scene, Agatha helps Billy pull his brother's spirit into another boy who was bullied to death. That's where we decided to put a spirit in the boy that was drowned by kids.
That drowning imagery was quite intense.
It's heavy. It was heavy. Yeah, it was pretty intense. And then Agatha gets out of the road and she fights Rio, played by Aubrey Plaza, who we've now at this point in the show revealed is Lady Death. And they have, classic, they throw multicolored goop at each other. And Billy shows up in his comic accurate costume, which looks great, I think. I thought it looked really cool. And then Agatha dies. She smooches Death. Hilariously, our first gay kiss in the MCU, and the character dies immediately. Guess that's why we don't have gay kisses in the MCU. You die when you do it.
Wait, is that true? That was the first gay kiss?
I believe so. Yeah, we're literally bearing our gays over here in the MCU. And then that was the end of the first episode. It ends with Billy kind of seeing a lot of signs about the Witch's Road in his room. But before we get, what does that mean? And he's thinking about his powers and abilities. How does that connect? We'll save that for the finale conversation. Roxy, what did you think about episode 8?
I did like it, but when episode 8 and 9 came out, I didn't watch them that night. I watched the next day because typically what happens is these episodes drop
at like midnight or something.
Yeah. But usually I'm filming World Girls and then I watched them right after. Wednesday was actually the night I decided to celebrate Halloween. I was at a girlfriend's. We were painting pumpkins.
Cute.
So when I got home, I just didn't watch these episodes. So by the time I had woken up, the internet was abuzz about how this was the greatest. Amazing. So then when I watched episode 8, I was a little underwhelmed compared to what people had said. And I wasn't able to watch episode 9 in the same sitting.
Mm-hmm.
I just was able to watch episode 8. So I was like, wow, what are we going to do for the finale? That felt like it moved the needle a little bit, but also gave me more questions. And I really hope they stick the landing. And that's kind of how I felt after episode 8.
And then we go into episode 9 and it opens in the 1700s.
DJ,
yeah.
How did you feel about episode 8?
I just generally, I felt like these past few episodes, starting with Billy's backstory, have been the strongest of the season. And so I think I liked it. I thought it was fine to good. It is funny. We got a question here that we'll touch on in a second. Like, how do you think it stacked up with the WandaVision finale? And it's funny that both shows ended, I think, in the same spot too, with just a magic goop fight where we're just throwing CGI at each other in the same spot in Westview. But I thought I liked these episodes. Again, I think with
just 8.
Just 8. I liked it.
Okay.
I liked it.
All right. Bring us to 9.
9, I kind of felt like maybe that should have been the finale. But anyway, we go to 9 and we go to the 1700s and we see, I think, a very interesting choice where we open with the birth of Agatha's son, Nicholas. Death shows up and it's basically like, nah. And then Agatha's like, and she's like, all right, I'll give you time. I'll give you time. That's it. And I think this is an interesting choice in that we explain one very specific sliver of Agatha's backstory. This isn't a full, like, here's Agatha's deal. The loss of Nicholas does not explain why she's an asshole. She's already murdering people by that. Like, she uses her son as a ploy to murder so many people. Which is interesting.
And take their powers.
And she explains to her son that, we kill them before they can kill us, kind of a deal. And then eventually at age 6, he kind of dies in his sleep. And by the way, this is one of multiple pieces of media where a child dies, and it's like, this is hitting me different right now. This is impacting me a little bit different than it would have a year ago. But he passes, and what we learn is that the whole Witch's Road song, with its complex mythology, was just a song between them two, and it kind of spread over time to where people thought it was real, and Agatha uses it as a ploy to lure more witches to her to kill them. And you're like, but DJ, hold on, we had a whole season of the Witch's Road, what are you talking about? Well, it turns out all of that was conjured up by Billy, who has powers similar to his mom, reality warping powers. And we discover this because Agatha's a ghost now, and she explains this to Billy. And they, long story short, they decide to team up to go find his brother, which I don't hate, by the way, because they got a good rapport. That dynamic's cool. It's a fun dynamic. I wanted to ask you, Roxy, because here's the thing. I watched these 2 episodes and I was like, yeah, you know what? This show, compared to the rest of it, I think it ended strong. I think I liked episode 2 where we got all the witches together. And then the show, in my opinion, kind of floundered a little bit. And then once it clicked around Billy's origin, I think we got the Billy episode, we got the Patty LuPone episode, and we got these 2 episodes. I thought that end run was comparatively really strong. Mm-hmm. I did read a review that really did not like this finale, and the argument I thought made sense in that. I don't know that I agree, but I thought it made sense in that this kind of, all these characters' stories are kind of brushed aside for what is essentially a prolonged origin for Billy, to the point where literally they just get an epitaph at the end. Although I did like the moment, I want to say this is the beginning of 8, with Alice Wu Gulliver after she dies, and she's like, "Whoa, whole time out," and she's talking to Death. She's like, "Time out. That's it. That's all I get." And Death is like, "Well, you're a protection wish. You died protecting somebody. What else do you want?" I thought that worked. Anyway, and I do get that argument that this, in hindsight, having the Witch's Road not be real and having it all just be there as all of this to just be a Billy backstory, kind of underserving the rest of the show. I understand that argument, and I want to know what you thought. Did you feel like having the Witch's Road not be real essentially undermined what the show was doing?
No, I loved this. I love shows. I think this show took a big swing.
Yeah.
I think this show knew that nobody wanted it. and this show was like, oh yeah, okay. We're just going to really do our damnedest to tell what we want to tell then. And I think that conceptually, like, Marvel did a show where death comes for us all.
Yeah.
That is interesting. Essentially, we have Agatha compromising. I'm not saying she was good beforehand, but she's like, if I can have my son for a little while, it's better than him being a stillborn, which is what he was supposed to be.
Yeah.
Which this show causes us to ask ourselves, is that true? Like, is there merit to the universe doing what it's supposed to do? And is that protection in and of itself?
Yeah.
Is it better to have some time or none at all? And what would allow you to move on quicker? And how would you be? And what is enough time?
Yeah.
And I think it asks some really big questions of the audience.
Yeah.
And I like that. Obviously, I hate that and it's sad, but I thought that was fascinating. And then specifically to what you're talking about, none of it would have made sense to me if this wasn't the result. Like, as somebody who, this show is all in the supernatural, and I do like supernatural shows, but we are just speaking about me not necessarily connecting to supernatural characters as much sometimes. I think this is fascinating that this is not real. It is made up.
Yeah.
Because if it was real, what does that mean? So I thought that this was the better option. Like, she did this because it is Agatha all along, but really the show also could have been called Billy all along.
Absolutely.
And they make this, him not on purpose, her very much on purpose. They make this whole entire thing where she's not the good guy in this story. She is extremely evil.
Yeah.
And at some points I feel like you we didn't know that in this show.
Yeah.
At some points, I kind of was like, do I love Agatha?
Mm-hmm.
And no, like what she's decided to do is put herself above others.
Yeah.
And that's the one thing we're not supposed to do on the planet,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like how dare you think that your life is more important than another?
Yeah.
It's kind of like the basis of being a good person is knowing that somebody else's life is not less important than yours.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And she forgot that and doesn't live by that.
No. What?
But she finds this guy, and that's like the heart of it. Yeah, I just thought that this was a great finale that asked big questions.
And I do think there is something, I do think I kind of like that this doesn't end with Agatha redeemed. It's not like I've changed my perspective and I'm a good person. It's more like I like this one kid.
Because he reminds me of my own.
Yeah.
And I think that is another thing that this show is really trying to point out to us. We only care about things that affect us in life. And that's not cool.
Yeah.
See where that gets the world. I think. Yeah.
I do also think it's smart that so we don't redeem Agatha per se, but we do take her off the table to the degree that she can no longer harm other people, one presumes, because she's a ghost.
Yeah.
So at least she's not hurting other people. But I will say it feels like Billy's big takeaway. She says, and I think most of anything Agatha does that works is because of Kathryn Hahn making it work. Like when you're
that might be true. I can't separate them.
Well, that's the thing. When you're like, do I love Agatha? It's like, well, yeah, because it's Kathryn Hahn. Of course you do. Right. You know, that's why you feel that. That's why as audience we feel that way because it's Kathryn Hahn. She says, like, I have a habit of killing my coven, and Billy says, so do I, because this does have pockets. I finally found the pockets in this.
Ooh, I love finding pockets.
Sorry, people that are just listening to the podcast. I'm wearing a cute, adorable skeleton onesie, and you're missing out. Anyway,
and it has pockets.
And it has pockets. I didn't know this would have been great I wish I'd known for my walk yesterday. But he says, I do too, which to me felt like a major tee up to, as we talked about in previous episodes, Young Avengers. Why would you have Billy's lesson basically be like, I don't know if I'm a good team player because the last time I was on a team, most of the team died, unless this is one more setup for Young Avengers, which leads me to my question, Roxy. When do we think this episode ends with Agatha and Billy off to find his brother? When do you think we will see these characters again?
When do I think we will see Agatha and Billy, or when do I think we'll see Tommy?
I think Agatha and Billy, and I guess one presumes that next time we see them, it will be to find Tommy.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Well, stepping back for a second, you and I are the only ones apparently who are interested in Young Avengers.
According to the comments, yeah.
It's so weird to me. I don't even know how to connect to people anymore.
Yeah.
What? But these are the characters that we like. These are the storylines that they presented us. These are the one that seems like a no-brainer to me, but okay.
Yeah.
When do I think we'll see them? Well, I'm with you that we're not getting an Agatha season 2.
Yeah. I'm trying to see because we know a lot of our slate. What is this? Where did I click on? I'm trying to see, because in these slates there's like untitled, we've marked out this spot for an untitled show, and I'm trying to see if what those look like. You know what I mean? If I can find a list of like this date are marked out, but they're for shows that have not been named yet. So is it
going to be like, this is the spin-off of WandaVision.
Yeah.
Is there going to be a spin-off of Agatha?
That's Billy and Agatha?
Yeah.
I could see it. I could see that. Can I tell you?
I don't think it would be called Agatha season 2, but it might be called The Search for Tommy.
Yeah. To me, I think the no-brainer would be we've talked about Young Avengers, obviously. There was the initial Young Avengers run, and then there was a maxi series called Young Avengers: The Children's Crusade, which was the whole team, but it was primarily Billy and Teddy, his brother, trying to find
Tommy.
What did I say? Teddy? Sorry.
Teddy every time.
Eddie every time. I messed up
last week, this week. So those are the times.
Well, thank you. I appreciate you. I appreciate the
I'm
assist
just so
on
rude.
that
I
one.
shout at you, Tommy.
No, please. Well, because I messed up.
How dare you have a
Was
newborn?
it Mrs. Chen on Venom? I called her like Mrs. Wu or something. I felt really stupid about that.
Did you? I didn't notice that.
I don't see. Man, have we filled in all the like untitled slots? There is a Vision Quest show coming out that's going to pick up where WandaVision left off with Vision. I don't see this plot line continuing in that show.
Well, that feels like it would really do a disservice to that show.
Yeah, because that feels like a whole different thing that we're doing. But anyway, so there was a comic, Young Avengers Children Crusade, which was I'm trying to resurrect or find Wanda. And to me, the no-brainer is you do a Disney Plus show called Young Avengers, maybe even Young Avengers Children Crusade, and that's where you pick up this plot line and Billy's quest to find his brother and ends up roping in the rest of our young heroes. And we set up the Young Avengers for Doomsday and Secret Wars. That feels like a no-brainer to me.
Why does nobody else want Young Avengers?
Well, if I were to just based off of the things that we've gotten in comments before on She-Hulk and stuff like that, if you look at our Young Avengers lineup, we've got Wiccan, who's a gay young man, and we've got Kate Bishop and Miss Marvel, and theoretically Riri Williams, Ironheart. And if you'll notice, not a lot of heterosexual white men in that. And it wouldn't surprise me.
Tommy.
Yeah, maybe.
That's why we got to go save him. He's our one.
He's our one. If this kind of has gotten roped into the whole like culture war, I don't know, man. I don't know what people want. I feel like a Young Avengers show. It bums me out to think that the Marvel fan base, and I don't know that this is true, but when you ask like, why don't they want Young Avengers? I would bum me out to find out that the Marvel fan base has become as calcified as the Star Wars fan base has. Because it didn't always feel that way. It felt like the Marvel fan base was at least slightly more open to things. And if that is no longer the case, that's a bummer, because then there's a lot of missed opportunity. There's a lot of missed opportunities for storytelling, I think. And I think Young Avengers is one of those. And I think the Young Avengers cast we've got is pretty stellar. And I'll tell you what between watching this and the trailer, my brain leaped to another reality where on the docket, not only do we have a Young Avengers project, but we have like a West Coast Avengers lineup, because a lot of back in the day, back when I was a young man in the like 90s or whatever, there was the West Coast Avengers that had characters like Wonder Man and Moon Knight and She-Hulk and Black Knight. And so when I'm seeing like Wonder Man and stuff like that, we could have, and it's like in my brain, I'm like, we could have gotten a Young Avengers with all these young kids and a West Coast Avengers with all these like new guys, Shang-Chi, because he's in San Francisco. We could have had that whole lineup. And then we could have had a movie where they butt heads over who are the real Avengers, who gets to be the Avengers. You know what I mean? And that in my brain, I'm like, why didn't we do that? Why did we?
That's so cool.
Why did we hold on to the Avengers brand until another big event movie? Why didn't we do that?
Why didn't we do that? I mean, I think that my answer to the question is that people don't want Young Avengers because there is Fantastic Four and X-Men and regular Avengers are all still on the table.
Yeah.
So they're just not focused on Young Avengers. But these are the characters that I'm actually really intrigued by.
Yes.
I love coming of age stories in general, but also this is the closest that I feel like I do have to a reboot, which is young, fresh blood coming up, different interests, different missions, different goals, different problems, different world that they are living in. This is what I am interested in. Like, you know how the generation after the pandemic looks completely different than the generation that grew up prior to the pandemic. Yeah. These kids grew up. This is an after the snap generation.
Yeah.
These are people who had to grow up in a weird world. And so let's see them. And I think that what you just described with the West Coast Avengers, if we did the Young Avengers and we did West Coast Avengers, and then in several years, we bring back our Avengers and West Coast Avengers, and somehow the worlds merge, and it's like, wait, but we're the Avengers.
Yeah.
Come on. I mean, that is so great. And maybe the Young Avengers split and they're like, no, those were the event. No, these are the new, and like there's Trouble in Paradise. It's stellar.
And I think one of the smart decisions they made for Infinity War is that came right after Captain America Civil War. So our Avengers team was split. And so imagine like going into Avengers Doomsday, we got this big multiverse thing. And like you said, we got the West Coast Avengers, we got the Young Avengers. And then maybe because of multiverse shenanigans, Tony and Steve are back and like the main guys are back. And it's like, wait, so who is here? Who's saving the day today? Like who are our guys? Like that's a movie. That's a big event movie,
Yeah.
So
what? Why?
Mike Joyce says people don't like the movies and shows the Young Avengers have been in. Listen, that's not those actors or characters' fault. All right, that's not. And they weren't all. They were. Hawkeye and Miss Marvel had moments. There was and the cast is good. Guys, the cast is good. Also, people don't know what they want. Anyway, Leonard Kim says it would seem the people don't care about the kids. I think they would.
That's true in life right now.
Yeah, that is true. Okay, let's answer some questions from the Discord. Clementine asks, how do you think the finale stacks up to the WandaVision finale? I remember the end of WandaVision really soured my view on the whole show. A problem I have with a lot of the MCU TV, actually.
How do I think the cast stacks up to the WandaVision cast?
How do you think the finale stacks up?
The finale.
If you compared the WandaVision finale to the Agatha All Along finale, how do you think it compares?
I loved this finale.
Yeah.
I did not like that finale.
Yeah.
So that's how I think it compares. People know, like Wanda. I feel like Wanda, it was my character. Like that was my number one Marvel Avenger, number one. That show like gutted me, not because like in the good gutted, like, it worked on me. I just did not like it.
Yeah.
My friends all loved it. So I don't know if that was just a me thing, but the way that show ended, I was super bummed.
Yeah. I do think this is a better finale. I do. I agree. I agree with that. I'm interested, Roxy, having said that you don't like the magical stuff, do you think...
No, that's not a fair depiction of what I said. Just the characters that are more grounded, I go to more. But obviously, I don't hate the magical stuff. Wanda's my favorite character.
Do you think this opens the door for more mystical Marvel stuff? And would you be interested in that?
What opens the door?
It's Agatha. Agatha, do you know, have you heard on the street, what's the response to this show? Has it been positive, negative, nothing, neutral?
People very similar to you.
Yeah.
Didn't like the middle, a little bit of a middle chunk.
Yeah.
But really in on it now.
Okay.
Is what I've heard.
Good for the show.
Yeah.
But do you think this opens the door for maybe mystical stuff that would interest you more?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
And like, it's so not that I don't like any mystical stuff. Like I love werewolves and vampires and witches. So, I love supernatural stuff. I just don't love sometimes them being in the same world. Like I'm gonna be somebody who builds up my suit because the world needs saving and I've got this. Oh, well, I found a hood on the ground.
Mm-hmm. So
like,
it's that aspect of it. Kind of, you feel like
sometimes they just feel like they're not supposed to be interacting.
Yeah. Leonard Kim asked, do you think Jennifer Kale, I believe she's the High Priestess, is how the MCU tries to revive Wanda? Also, could Vision Quest involve Billy trying to find Tommy?
I know nothing about this. DJ, do you?
Vision Quest?
No, Jennifer Kale.
So she was the other survivor. I guess because her ability is healing. No, I don't think something like that is going to... At this point, I feel like the resurrection of Wanda is going to be a big event. So it's either going to happen in Doomsday or one of these Avengers movies, be a big deal. Or
imagine if it happened on Agatha season 2.
or if they did make a Young Avengers show, I would imagine the central conflict would be around reviving Wanda and whether to not do that or something like that. I think it would be something specifically structured around Wanda, because weirdly since WandaVision, it feels like Wanda's kind of become like a cornerstone character of the entire MCU. You know what I mean? Even though she's been dead most of that time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
What do you think?
I don't know what to think.
That's fair. I guess we could resurrect Wanda in Vision Quest.
Yeah, I don't know what to think.
Yeah.
Because also, like, I guess we're gonna resurrect her, but should we?
Could you imagine the Vision Quest show? Because Vision Quest, that title comes from a comic of Brown Vision. Following White Vision, I don't know another way to call that character, the Vision that is white at the end. And it's him teaming up with Billy and Agatha's ghost to resurrect Wanda. That's the Vision Quest show. About the robot show? That's what it's about. Him teaming up with a witch and a ghost to resurrect his dead wife.
I actually kind of think that would be cool.
If you saw, hey, sure, why not? I would rather that happen in a Young Avengers show, but it sounds like I'm not going to get that. So, Joyce asks, where would you rank this among the MCU shows?
All right, what have we had, DJ?
Well, are we just counting the core Disney Plus shows? None of the Daredevils and Jessica Jones.
I think for the purposes of this conversation, yes.
Okay. So we've had, here we go. We've had WandaVision. We've had Falcon and Winter Soldier. We've had Loki. We've had Hawkeye. We've got Moon Knight.
Where are you looking at these? I need to write them all down to try to.
I'm on Wikipedia. This was back when I was trying to see if there was any untitled shows that had yet to be.
Start again. WandaVision. What's the next one?
Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Okay.
Loki, Hawkeye. I'm just counting the live action ones. Moon Knight, Miss Marvel, She-Hulk, Secret Invasion, Echo, and then Agatha.
My favorite of those is Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Nope, my favorite of those is She-Hulk.
Yeah.
Then after that is Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Then after that is Miss Marvel.
Yeah.
I think. Do I have to go all the way down the list?
No, I don't think so. I think it could just be this falls. You could say something as simple as this falls like in the middle for me.
And then at the end, what is the worst one for me?
Oh, you can also count the Werewolf by Night TV special.
I like that.
I like that as well. So here's while you're thinking about that, Roxy, I do have on Letterboxd. I have my little list, and if you guys recall, I broke it up into the phases. So this is literally what I have on my list right now. She-Hulk, which is actually my favorite project in the Multiverse Saga show so far. She-Hulk, Werewolf by Night, Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Okay, Hawkeye. So we have the same. You and I have the same big three.
It's almost like we've been talking about these shows as they come out. Hawkeye, Agatha All Along, which is actually like firmly like right in the middle. Like even if you count the movies, there's 23 projects in the Multiverse Saga. Right now, Agatha All Along sits at 11. So apparently, I liked it. Then Loki, then WandaVision, then the Guardians of the Galaxy special, then Miss Marvel, then Echo, and then Secret Invasion. And for me, and I know this is more of a me thing, at the very bottom is Moon Knight, because Moon Knight broke my heart. Because I love that character, and that show just bummed me out on every level almost.
I think Secret Invasion might be my last place.
I think that's fair.
Such a bummer that's crazy.
But it is fair. Like I think if I didn't have the connection to Moon Knight that I have, it would probably be Secret Invasion at the bottom.
Yeah. Yeah, and I am trying to think, like, there were moments on all of these shows, because Echo's pretty low on my list as well, but there were some really cool parts about Echo.
Yep, agreed.
Moon Knight is relatively low on my list as well, too, but there were some cool parts. Hawkeye, it's more about the dynamic, which would be why that would be placed a little bit higher for me.
Mm-hmm. And I think the moments in Hawkeye hit stronger. Like I remember the first Echo episode and like moments like where he uses the Ant-Man grow arrow and stuff like that. It's like the Hawkeye, the times Hawkeye hit, I think it hit pretty hard.
Yeah. Moon Knight breaking your heart, it was kind of the equivalent, a little less so, about Wanda breaking my heart.
Yeah, no, I get that.
I was ready for that to be my favorite show of the year.
Yeah.
And then I just didn't like it.
I
it was
know.
Cool with the sitcom stuff was cool at first for a second, but then just the show was not for me.
Here's what I say, and this does not help you, Roxy, but I will say the trajectory of WandaVision into Multiverse of Madness did make Wanda, I think, one of the strongest antagonists in the MCU. I still think Wanda in Multiverse of Madness is like up because her motivations are so clear, and she's such a powerful threat. And if you don't, die a hero, you live long enough to see yourself be the villain. You know what I mean? I thought that worked, but obviously as a fan of the character, that doesn't help you any.
Yeah, I just like am really tired of scorned women, scorch earth storylines. Yeah. And I know that is her storyline. Yeah. I just like, oh man.
Yeah. Well, don't worry. I do think she's going to get a big old redemption and be an important part of other Avengers things moving forward. But before we get there, remind the kids at home where they can find what you're working on.
You guys can find me everywhere at Roxy Stryer. November 12th, Crust Out on VOD. So be on the lookout for that.
November 12th, you say?
Yeah.
All right.
I did.
I'll put that on my viewing docket. I'm excited to see it. You can find me at DJ Talks Trash. Please go check out my personal channel, also at DJ Talks Trash. If you want to follow the show everywhere that matters, it is at Only Stupid Answers, but on Twitter/X.
Yank out the vowels from stupid.
And we will see you all next time. Bye, everybody.